Moving on to item number 2, a public hearing for accepting grant funding and expenditure recommendations for the California Citizens Option for Public Safety, otherwise known as the COPS grant, $100,000.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members.
Thank you.
So I'm here tonight to propose to secure additional funding to be used toward the presentation and reduction of crime and violence. Each year, depending on state needs, state budget priorities, funds may be allocated to law enforcement agencies to assist in carrying out priorities as established by the Chief of Police, or for unincorporated areas, the Sheriff. Over the last several years, monies have been made available to the state of California to local law enforcement agencies, entities in the forms of Citizens Option for Public Safety grant, like the mayor said, COPS grant. This year, the City of Yuba City Police Department will receive approximately $100,000. The state government code restricts the money to be used for frontline law enforcement agency enforcement purposes and may not be used to supplant any existing law enforcement services provided by the city. And there are no matching funds that are required. Traditionally, the police department has utilized the funds obtained for technology advancements or for major approval expenditure categories, critical patrol safety equipment, and infrastructure improvements for the benefit of frontline law enforcement. Funding directions are based upon needs assessments from the department's management group, the staff, the supervisory group. We talked to IT also, and our research and development unit, trying to find what the technologically coming items are that will be beneficial to the department to help us so we don't use as much manpower and we're able to use technology. In the past, we've also used it for ballistic helmets for patrol and for portable pole mounting cameras, which we have several over the city right now. New SWAT tactical vests, additional pole equipment. In addition, the department used some grant money to help finance the police parking lot expansion. Prior years, we've used it for complete infrastructure upgrade of the dispatch center. The Sutter Buttes Interoperability Project, Phase 1, we used it for that so we can operate with the other agencies in the area. We've used it for the Emergency Operations Center retrofit, a total service weapon upgrade for all officers, equipping all patrol vehicles with mobile data terminals so we're able to link with each other through computers and with dispatch, and also in different upgrades at different times for computer-aided dispatching software. So we would suggest a continuation along the path of technology evaluation and implementation, which has served us well over the last, it says 10 years, but it's actually been over 20 years now, and gained the city both state and national recognition as a technological leader in law enforcement. I'm going to try to, these are the items that we're proposing. This is something separate. This is the highest dollar item, and I think it's going to bring the most value for its, the bang for its buck. This is a 3D laser system that will allow us to go out to a crime scene, a major crime scene, such as a shooting. In the past, we've had to borrow from Placer County or other agencies the facility or the capability of doing this. And you basically pinpoints a million different locations, and you're able to reconstruct it during a court. And you can show lifelike. It goes blood splatter. It can show where everything was, the skid marks, the charring patterns, if it was a burning type thing, motor vehicle. But it saves staff considerable amount of time, and it gives us a much better ability to represent ourselves when we're in court. I'm not sure if I can make this work, George. Oh, no wonder it wasn't working. that's how it works at our department. Yeah. So if you can just scroll up just a little bit. There you go, I think. These are just some of the different things. I'm not going to bore you guys with the video, but the video basically shows the fact that it captures the area. You do three-dimensional stick figure type things, but you're going to be able to show and walk through a jury in a case where it might have been a major shooting. You can actually walk the suspect through the different areas and show where he was standing at different times. It shows the blood splatter. It shows all the evidence, and it shows it in a realistic format that somebody would be able to understand, as opposed to just me up here talking. But I don't think I can recreate it. Some of the other things we're looking to spend on this year that are needed at the department: range steel targets and stands, compact door rams, motorcycle modular helmets with Bluetooth communications, Gore-Tex motorcycle pants, which sounds like an extravagant expense, but actually the officers are out there operating with on a motorcycle, and we're trying to make them as safe as possible. So we want to provide them with the safest equipment. And the Gore-Tex pants do that and help them be safer in case of a worst-case scenario like an accident. 40 millimeter less lethal launchers and locks. That sounds dangerous, but it's actually a benefit to the department. So we don't have to use lethal force when it's not necessary. We can use less lethal. It gives the ability for every single car in the fleet to have a 40 millimeter less lethal and a lock that goes along with it to make sure that it's not broken into, even though they are police cars. One of the things that we're going to are 9 millimeters as opposed to 40 calibers. We found over time the FBI has gone to that, the military is going back to that. It's just a technological advance. We want to give the officers an opportunity to choose a couple different weapons so everybody's not locked into the same one. Hands are different, they fit differently. Some of our officers can't shoot a 9 millimeter, they have to use a 45 because their hands are so large. Night vision goggles with an illuminator for the SWAT team. I think that one's self-explanatory. Street surveillance cameras. So we have these currently around the city, and I don't know if the public has been able to see them. And what it gives us the opportunity is to remotely watch areas that we've identified as problem areas throughout the city. We can move them with 1 day's notice, basically, and attach them to any pole. We've done that where we had a recent spat of burglaries. We've done that to areas with high vandalism. We're currently moving another one. We have about 3 of them. We have 2 at Richland Housing Center, and Public Works has a couple also. They've been so effective for us that we want to get a couple more out there. So that's one of our asks also, is those 2 cameras. So basically what we're receiving is about $100,000 for this account, and there is no grant match. The alternatives would be to provide staff with alternative spending paths which will not supplant routine expenditures in the general fund. And the recommendation is to adopt a resolution authorizing the Chief of Police to accept the fiscal year 2018-2019 COPS funding and approve expenditure recommendations. B, authorize the Chief Financial Officer to make the budget adjustments as necessary. And this is a public hearing.
Thank you very much, Rob. I'll go ahead and open the public hearing right now. If any member of the public would like to comment on the item, please feel free to step up and say what you got to say. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. I'll bring it back to council for comment and or action.
Through the mayor, I just have a quick question for you, Chief. I've seen the cameras. You guys have one just north of Queens Avenue over there, Melton area. Do these cameras as well have the capability that I've seen in Sacramento to detect shots being fired as far as that detection, or is it just simply surveillance?
So that's probably something we're going to be looking at the very near future. It doesn't have that capability to answer your question. That's a shot finder.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Good question. Good question. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Move.
Through the mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the grant funding and expenditure recommendations for the California Citizens Option for Public Safety, COPS, grant of $100,000, recommendations of A, B, and C.
All right, very well. We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very well. Passes. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.